It started with a house. Of course it did. Every good horror story starts with a house, preferably old, creaky, and conveniently abandoned. This one checked all the boxes: peeling wallpaper, an attic no one had any business being in, and a basement that smelled like regret. The lucky owners? Me and my best friend Leo. Well, not owners. We just thought an Airbnb in the middle of nowhere would be a fun idea. The listing called it a rustic getaway. In reality, it looked like the kind of place where people get away and are never seen again. The first night we heard breathing. Not the house creaking, not the wind, but actual breathing. Deep, slow, heavy. At first, we thought it was each other. "Dude, stop breathing so loud," I whispered. "That's not me," Leo hissed back. Oh, fantastic. The house had asthma. By the second night, the house was laughing. It started around 2 a.m., a low, guttural chuckle that seemed to come from inside the walls. I turned to Leo. "If I turn on the light and there's an old lady standing in the corner, I swear to God." Click, light on. No old lady, just shadows that moved when they shouldn't. Leo, in his infinite wisdom, decided to poke the walls. "Maybe it's a prank," he said. "Maybe someone put speakers in here." Right, because someone clearly spent thousands setting up a high-tech haunted house experience just to mess with two broke dudes who paid $50 a night. Totally logical. Then the walls growled. We did what any brave men would do. We grabbed our bags, sprinted out, and drove straight to a 24-hour McDonald's. Because nothing says safety like artificial lighting and a McChicken. Against all reason, we went back in the morning. Why? Because we left our phones. And Leo, being Leo, refused to let a ghost steal his iPhone. "Bro," I said, "we literally heard the walls breathe." "And," he said, "that phone cost $1,000. Priorities." We stepped inside. For a moment, everything was normal. No laughter, no breathing. The house was silent. Too silent. Then the front door slammed shut behind us. Leo turned pale. "I have made a grave mistake." "No kidding." Then footsteps, not ours. Something was coming down the stairs. We didn't stick around to see what it was. We did what we should have done on night one, jumped through the nearest window and never looked back. We left a 1-star review on Airbnb. House was great, except for the part where it tried to eat us. Would not recommend unless you enjoy nightmares. Also, the Wi-Fi sucked. A week later, the listing was gone. The house, still there, still waiting for the next fools dumb enough to book a rustic getaway. We weren't looking for a haunted house. We weren't looking for any house, really. But the moment we saw it, we knew. It sat at the end of a long, empty road, far too cheap for how massive it was. Tall, pale white, with deep blue shutters and a front porch that stretched across the entire first floor. It looked like something out of an old photograph. Elegant, almost too perfect. And that should have been our first red flag. Leo and I were broke, as usual, and desperate for a place to stay for the summer. This house, $600 a month, utilities included. In a world where closets in New York cost more than that, we didn't ask questions. We signed the lease before the landlord could change their mind. The landlord was odd, old, thin, dressed too formally for a house showing. He barely spoke, except to remind us of one thing. "You are free to go anywhere in the house," he said, handing over the keys. "Except the room at the end of the hall on the second floor. Do not open that door." I laughed. Leo, being the responsible one, nodded seriously. But I should have known. Because the moment someone tells you not to do something, it becomes impossible not to think about. The first night was normal. We set up our rooms, ordered pizza, and binge-watched whatever horror movies we could find. Because nothing says we respect the paranormal like laughing in the face of horror cliches in a house we knew nothing about. But then, at 3 a.m., something knocked on my door. Not the front door, my bedroom door. I sat up fast, heart pounding. "Leo?" I called out. Silence. Another knock. I reached for my phone and texted him. "Dude, stop!" A second later, my phone buzzed with a reply. "What?" Then another message. "Bro, I'm in my room." My stomach dropped. I looked at the door. No shadows underneath. No movement. Then who knocked? I didn't open it. I stayed under my blanket like a responsible person and eventually fell asleep, pretending it didn't happen. By the third night, we started noticing things. Every time we left a room, something would be slightly different when we came back. Cabinets opened. Chairs moved. The TV switched channels on its own. At first, we thought we were just forgetting things. Maybe we left the fridge open. Maybe Leo really did put the remote in the freezer. But then, we started feeling it. Like the house was watching us. Not in a, this place is creepy kind of way, but in a real, physical way. Like eyes on the back of your neck every time you turned around. And every night at exactly 3 a.m., I would wake up to hear footsteps in the hallway. Leo heard them too. We started sleeping with our doors locked. We stopped leaving our rooms at night. We stopped talking about it. One night, Leo snapped. I was in my room trying to pretend this was totally normal when I heard his voice. "That's it!" A door slammed open. I jumped out of bed, ran into the hallway, and saw Leo standing at the end of the hall, in front of the forbidden door. "Leo, don't..." "Screw this," he said, hand on the doorknob. "I'm sick of this creepy house and these stupid rules." He turned the knob. It wasn't locked. The door swung open, and behind it, a wall. Not a room, not an empty space, just a wall. We stared. A door that led to nowhere. Leo knocked on it, like maybe it was fake. Solid wood, completely real. Then he pressed his ear to it, and that's when he went pale. I took a step forward. "What?" He backed up, eyes wide. "There's something behind it." Then I heard it too. A slow, heavy breath, like something big, listening. We ran, didn't pack, didn't turn off the lights. We just grabbed our keys and left. And guess what? The landlord didn't even look surprised when we called him the next day. He just sighed and said, "I'll send someone for your things." Then he hung up. A month later, out of morbid curiosity, I checked the rental listing again. The house was still there. Same price, same too good to be true deal. But something was different. At the bottom of the description, in small gray text, 2 rooms available. 2, not 1. 2, like it was waiting for the next fools dumb enough to move in. So if you ever find yourself in a house that feels off, where the walls move, where the air feels heavy, where something just isn't quite right, maybe don't stay the night. Or do. More content from me. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, and maybe double check that your doors are actually locked tonight.